Hey guys, this is topic 7. This is the new section we're going to learn. This is about simplifying expression. So before we start simplifying things, let's talk about an expression. So we have an expression right here. 4y cubed minus 3xy plus x minus 9. So again, this is an expression. An expression has something we call term. In this case, terms. So terms are basically something separated by either a plus or a minus, and it goes with a sign in front of them. So in this expression, we have four terms right here. 4y cubed minus 3xy, x, and negative 9. Minus 9 becomes negative 9. Minus 3xy becomes negative 3xy. So why does it include the sign? Why am I saying this is negative 3xy and this one's minus 3xy? Well, let's take the first two terms of this expression and let me explain the reason why. So in this expression, we can change this expression with addition rule into a 4y cubed plus negative 3xy. So now we have this term and this term. And what we're doing is we're doing it for everything, for all the terms, all four terms. Hence, that's why the minus becomes negative when we split it into terms. But what we're essentially doing is we're doing this stuff in our head, so you don't have to show that part in your test. Just do note that you can basically just go from here to here. So again, we have four terms, and on these four terms, which one do you think is different? Negative 9 is different. Why? Well, because among them, only negative 9 doesn't have a variable. So what this does teach us is that we have two types of terms: variable terms and constant terms. Variable terms are terms with variables, and constant terms are just constant numbers. That's basically it. And in variable terms, we have has two parts: a coefficient, which is basically the number in front of the variable, and the variable part, so all the variables. So let's say we have a term here for y cubed. The coefficient is 4. The variable part is y cubed. How about negative 3xy? Well, the coefficient is just negative 3x. The variable part is just xy. In x, just because there's no number in front of them doesn't mean we don't have a coefficient. A coefficient is implied there, that is basically 1. And then the variable part is just x, so you're not gonna put 0 in your coefficient, it has to be 1. How about negative xy? Well, the coefficient is negative 1 and the variable part is xy. So the last part was just thrown in, so I have an example on negatives. So now that you know variables, coefficient, we can talk about like terms. So like terms are basically terms with the same variable part. So in English, they have to have the same variable and it's raised to the same exponent. So let's have an example. This is 13ab plus 4 minus 3ab minus 10. So again, how many terms? Well, there's 4. 3ab, positive 4, negative 3ab, and negative 10. So what is the coefficient of 13ab? Well, 13. Now what are the like terms of this expression? Well, 13ab has a like terms with negative 3ab. So those are two like terms. Is that all? No, it's not. 4 and negative 10 has like terms. Again, like terms are the same variable part. In this case, 4 doesn't have a variable part, and negative 10 doesn't have a variable part. So that means they are like terms. Essentially, all constant terms, all constant are like terms. So again, as an example, let's find the like terms on this expression. 7y cubed plus 2xy minus 8 plus 9yx minus 4y minus 2. So again, we're going to find coefficients. And we're going to find the like term. So to find like term, coefficient, it's actually like terms, my bad that. We're actually going to do it term by term. So 7y cubed, is there any coefficient, is there any like terms with 7y squared? Well, is there any term that ends with y squared? No. So that means 7y squared is by itself. Now let's move on to 2xy. In this case, does 2xy has a like term? Yes, it does. It's 9yx. And then we move on to negative 8. Does negative 8 has a like term? Yes, it does, which is negative 2. Last one. On 9yx, we already know it's partnered up with 2xy. And negative 4y doesn't have a partner, so it's just by itself. So some of you might notice that 2xy and 2yx are not, they don't look alike. That might confuse you. So let's write that one down. 2xy is basically 2 times x times 1, right? And by associative property of multiplication, we can switch the position of y and x, right? So that means 2xy is basically the same thing as 2 times y times x, which has the same variable with non-yx, right? There you go. Frick. Okay, there you go. So just because they don't look alike doesn't mean we cannot manipulate the variables, so it kind of looks alike. So again, you can only do this with multiplication. You cannot do this when we're adding or dividing. Now let's move on to, now that we're good with combining like terms, finding like terms, let's move on to combining like terms. So to combine like terms, we're simply going to add the coefficient of the like terms, and we're simply going to keep the variable part as is. So 6c plus, here's an example, 6c plus 9c, again are the like terms. Obviously they share a common variable part of c. This matches and this matches. So what we're just going to do is we're going to add the coefficient 6 and the coefficient 9. 6 plus 9 is going to be 15. And we're just going to copy the variable part c. So our new term is 15c. Now let's move on to next terms. 8m minus 13m, are they like terms? Yes. So we're just going to add a coefficient. So we're going to add 8 with negative 13. Again, remember, the sign is included with the term to the right of it, so it has to be negative 13, not just 13. So 8 plus negative 13 is, by addition additional, you're supposed to get negative 5. and then we're just going to copy the variable part. Now in this one, we have 3a plus a. Are they like terms? Yes, they do. They have a common term, common variable part of a. So we're just going to add 3 and nothing. Again, what's the implied coefficient of a single variable by itself? 1. So we're just going to add 3 and 1. 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. So it's going to be 4a. Now we have a bit difficult one. We have negative y squared plus 3y squared plus 7. We're going to identify the terms. Again, first, what are the terms? We have negative y squared plus 3y squared, and we have 7. So we're just going to add combine like terms. In this case, the like terms are negative y squared and 3y squared. So this is a coefficient of negative 1, and this is a coefficient of 3. So negative 1 plus 3 should give you guys 2. And we're just going to copy the variable part, y squared. So it's going to be 2y squared. And the 7 has a like terms? No, it's not. So we're just going to leave it as is. Again, when we're simplifying like terms, it's okay to have an expression as an answer. Again, we're not solving it, we're not evaluating it, so it's okay to have a long answer when we're simplifying expression. Now we have next problem. 5x squared minus 9x plus x squared minus 12x. Again, first thing first you should do is you identify the terms. This is one term, this is one term, this is one term, and this is one term. Again, don't forget the sign included. So for x squared, you do it term by term. 5x squared has a like term with x squared. Now you combine them, which is basically combine the coefficient, add them. 5 plus 1 should give you guys 6. And you copy the coefficient of x squared, so it's going to be 6x squared. Now let's move on to the next term, negative 9x. Negative 9x has a like term with negative 12x. You add them, negative 9 plus negative 12 should give you guys negative 21x. So that's your final answer, 6x squared minus 21x. Now last one is a bit long, 2x squared, negative 2x plus 7x minus 12 minus 8x. Oh, my bad, it's r. Negative 2r plus 7x minus 12 minus 8r minus plus x plus 8. So again, first thing first, you identify the terms. In this case, and then next is you combine the like terms. In this case, negative 2r is a like term with negative 8r, so negative 8 plus negative 2 plus negative 8 should give you guys negative 10. You copy the you copy the variable part r. Now you move on to the next term, 7x has a coefficient of 7, and we're going to combine that with x. Again, if you forgot what's the coefficient of a single variable, it's basically 1. So 7x we're going to combine 7 with 1. 7 plus 1 is 8, and we copy the variable part x. Now last part, coefficient of negative 12 has a like term with 8, and negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. There's no variable part, so you don't need to put the variable part. So your final answer is this expression.